so good.
You know, there's a lot of people over here. A lot of people showing up. A lot of people care. Except for the people who bought tickets right there. They don't give a crap. There's a handful of them, but that will say, you're going to
like it. You care.
A lot of empty chairs.
The empty seats there.
Yeah.
Not those people. I
bet you dollars and donuts are not empty tomorrow. That's my prediction. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Ladies and or gentlemen.
Okay.
Our next guest is someone you may have never heard of. Probably aren't excited to see. And most definitely won't fill this room with screams and applause when I say Misha Collins.
In my culture, it's a sign of respect to bow lower than the other person when greeting.
Lower, get lower. Wow, Misha likes Rob a lot more than Rob likes Misha. He's showing Rob a lot more respect than oh wow, Rob, you really phoned it in. That was rude. That was just rude.
What happened? Because my bottom didn't go down?
Yeah, well, no, your bottom stayed way up in the air.
Rob's like, oh, I understand.
No, you were bowing, but then Misha went all the way to the ground, which was very respectful, and you kept your anus sky high.
But
that's also arguably respectful.
Well, it's disrespectful to Billy, who was in the direct line of fire, should something have gone wrong. Had there been a mishap, well, it would have been Billy Moran who were swapping down, you know what I'm saying?
well...
It's a family panel, everybody.
No, it's not.
Ladies and gentlemen, Misha Collins.
That's not really true. We don't do that in my culture. This is an awkward silence. Hi, how are you guys? How's it going? It's such a lovely day to be inside a windowless room, huh? Oh, thank you. Thank you.
What do you know, like 60?
I had to work on my birthday, which actually I was thinking, I don't know if I've done before with Supernatural. Cass has usually been sent off to do errands by the time it's my birthday. And they were so nice to me at work. It was so great. I was like, oh, there are some people that still like me. My trailer was filled with balloons and streamers, and there were cakes. And what? There were some, yeah, they did call, okay, yeah. Why did you bring that up? There was a cane and some signs that said Old Zone also but it was nice, it was sweet. And then Jared and I spent 15 minutes popping balloons in my room, which was also fun. And it seemed, where is everybody going?
They're lining up for questions.
This almost looks like a piece of performance art, all three people crossing back and forth. It's highly choreographed. Look like you have somewhere to go. Be very busy. Look like you're about to get fired. What? I've never seen that before.
I heard Justin Bieber was in the lobby. Oh, there.
Oh, guys, there it is. That's what we've all been waiting for. Oh, God. Natalie's going to ask the question? There's a hierarchy of questions, so I didn't even know about this. Does this always come up? Or no? Why does this never happen? There's all... Oh, it happens before I get out here normally.
Yeah.
Oh, so everything is sort of just a clusterfuck right now.
Learn something new every day.
And are these... So how do you get picked? Is it bribery?
A lottery.
Sorry, sexual favors?
Random lottery.
Yeah, totally random.
Dark
Bribery.
Bribery.
Plinko.
Well, that's really cool. I didn't know that. I think Natalie should go first, though. Don't you guys? Where is Natalie? Natalie? Natalie's not here?
She probably didn't realize she got picked.
Is there a Natalie here? She's on the list. Well, you're a Natalie, that's fine. Why don't you ask the first question? All Natalies are the same. You can ask a question, please. Will you please ask a question? Don't ruin this for me.
Oh, boy.
She, by the way, judging from, I'm pretty good with emotional intelligence. I'm just kidding. But I can tell very clearly that Natalie does not want to ask the question. And I'm pretty sure she doesn't have one. Please step up to the microphone. Hi, Natalie. Yeah. Natalie, please don't fight with the staff. Just ask your question. That's not a question, that's a comment. So, Natalie, it seems like you're dying to ask a question. What is it that you want to talk about?
I'm so sorry. Please give me 1 second. I usually do this in a very different context.
Okay. What, are you a therapist?
I'm a journalist. I usually do this with you at Comic Con.
Oh, yeah. Hi. Good to see you. I love your work. I just wanted to let you know how much I appreciate everything that you do.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
How terrible was Jared to you recently in the panel that, in the incident Ruth talked about earlier today with your single line in episode 2 or 3?
Like on set. Like,
How terrible was Jared?
Yeah, we heard they made Ruth break on a moment that was to do with your
I would say,
line.
I think it's consistently at an 11. It was an interesting day yesterday. Natalie, please don't walk away. It was an interesting day yesterday. Can you not talk while I'm talking, though? You asked me a question, and I'm trying to respond respectfully. It was an interesting day yesterday because Alex, who always knows his lines perfectly, was unable to speak. And he kept saying crypt instead of crook, and he kept adding the word hell in all over the place. Like, where it was like, there's a lot of hells in that sentence. What's happening? And he kept doing it. So before each take, obviously, I would say, crypt, hell, crypt, hell, crypt, hell, just to sort of prime him. And we all had a good laugh. And then we were laughing so much that Ruth was doing this incantation. On the show, she plays a witch. And she was doing a spell, and it was in Italian, and she said a couple of Italian words, and then she sort of was, I think, probably still thinking about crypt and crook or something, and she said, she couldn't remember the word, and she said, vulva. And we were rolling, and me and Jared and Jensen all went, what? That scene could be the entire gag reel. When it got to his coverage, Jared started flop sweating, which is, he's always flop sweating, but me and Jensen at one point just took over hair and makeup's job, and instead of calling them, because it's a very rare occurrence when partway through a take, the director's like, hold on everyone, hold on, keep rolling, hair, makeup, can you come in? And blot him dry. So then we just started throughout the scene blotting him dry after each line of dialogue. But then Jared had one line that he delivered to me, but every time he delivered it, he went. Which in the scene made no sense whatsoever. So yeah, it was a good day, productive. Should have been about 3 hours shorter than it was. The DP came into the room after a take, and there were tears streaming down his face. It was satisfying. There were tears streaming down my face too. We all, at the opening of the scene, were coming through double doors, and Jared and Jensen open the doors, and then me and Ruth and Alex run through, and then they slam the door shut. So they open the doors, and Ruth and Alex run in, and I start running in, and Jared just slammed the door. But I think it's safe to say that we will never find ourselves in such a professional environment. There was a new camera operator that day who was day playing, and he was like, he didn't know what to do. And he didn't understand why the director, who's Charles Beeson, who's directed some of our great episodes, and is back again, and we're so happy about that. But he didn't understand, like, why is this guy not saying cut? I've never seen this. It's awful. Thank you for your insightful question. Oh my goodness.
And I recently...
Are you from Bellingham?
I'm from like an hour and 30 south, so like...
Seattle.
I mean, other than Seattle, I'm like right in that sweet spot.
Of not, like border of Seattle, but not Seattle?
Right on the north side of Seattle.
So Seattle.
I mean, yeah. And I just recently turned 21, and I was wondering if you had any like hot spot bars that...
Oh, you mean like places I go to pick up 21-year-olds? So, sorry. I have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. I can tell you about the playgrounds, if that's what you're interested in. Is this your first year there?
No, I'm actually going into my 4th year of college. Should graduate.
Okay, so you actually know all of the hotspots already, and you're just making small talk. Let me ask you this, where do the 21-year-olds go?
I'm going to see Orion.
Just for asking for a friend.
Oh, have you been to the Orion yet? The astrology themed bar?
There's an astrology bar?
Yeah.
I hate astrology. That's not going to work for me. No, I didn't even know it existed. That's exciting, though. I have been to the planetarium at Western Washington University, though. That's pretty cool. They should let you have drinks in the planetarium. So are you going to stay in Bellingham when you're done?
I think I might try to go get a master's in Seattle somewhere. But we'll
Okay,
see.
back home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Bellingham's beautiful. I love Bellingham.
it is very lovely, yeah.
Do you go to Boulevard Park ever?
All the time. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I go there all the time too.
What? Why have we never run into each other? That's crazy.
I am.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we go to Boulevard Park. We look for crabs under the rocks. There's people that have the little tension ropes and do balancing on that.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Slacklining.
There's people that do slacklining. There's a coffee shop.
Yeah.
It's really lovely, yeah. Okay. Okay. It feels like we're trying to find common ground right now. I know that coffee shop. Sorry you guys had to see that. Hi.
Hi, Misha. My name is Luceli and I come from Mexico. And
Hello and welcome.
thank you. I wanted to, well, actually on Rachel Minor's panel, I asked her that if Cass ended up going to the empty as he was supposed to due to last season's events, how would she save him? Because I know she's died and she would be there. So how would she save Cass since he's her unicorn? So I wanted to ask you, how do you think you're gonna save you from that and bring it back to life? Because that's the only reason why I'm not worried that Cass may go there. Because I know it's
You know that everything is going to be okay because there's a unicorn waiting for me that I'm going to ride out of the empty. Everyone knows that a unicorn uses its horn to burrow a hole through the fabric of the empty back into purgatory, and then it can paw its way out of purgatory.
If you think about it, it would make sense. But no, I mean,
What's that?
Cass, which you met.
Oh, I'm the unicorn?
Cass, so he is her unicorn. So the.
Okay, so I have to use my horn. I can't believe you're bringing this up. I can tell you this. I hope that Rachel Minor comes back on the show this last season. And I know that there have been conversations about trying to make that happen, so hopefully it will.
Hi. So my question is about Prince. No, sorry, just kidding. Actually, I was wondering what you ended up telling Mason in regards to the tweet that you sent out about her question, the very specific question. Where did babies come from?
Wait, so she asked where babies come from? I know, I don't remember things. So, Was that the full context? Was just straight up, where do babies come from?
No, you can ask people what to tell me.
How do you make a baby, right? Yeah. No, I didn't respond. I changed the subject. I didn't feel ready to deal with that. I just had to deal with the whole Santa Claus problem. Who is very, very real. By the way,
But he's a problem.
I immediately regretted being honest. Felt so bad. Not only that, Wes asked, how many young children are in the audience right now? There's one 40-year-old woman just raised her hand. If there are any young children in the audience, please cover their ears. So, my son was like, Dad, what's the deal? Are elves real? And I had just read this piece that had said basically, when a child is ready to move on from that magical imagination phase of life, you should enlist them to help carry the story on to future generations and not lie to them until they figure out that you're just a liar. So I listened to that and I was like, no, they're not. But you're old enough now to know that and to help carry the torch and keep the story alive for your sister and for your friends, so don't tell anyone. And then he said, what about Santa Claus? And I was like, oh, fuck. Because I wasn't ready to let that go. And I said, well, also not real. And he said, well, what about how, we saw Santa Claus out the window last year and heard the bells. And I was like, no, that was my brother. And then he said, well, is magic real? And I couldn't take it. I said, yeah, it is. I couldn't do it all at once. But then, literally 2 days later, I went to this show called Mortified. Has anyone heard of it? If you have a chance to see it, it's really amazing. It's like this sort of radio play, and people read their journals from their, elementary and high school years. And it's really embarrassing, the stuff that people are saying at those young ages in print. But there was this one woman that got up and read the letters of correspondence that she had between herself and the Tooth Fairy. And they were amazing. And the Tooth Fairy would respond to these incredible questions about the dad having cancer and how to move through it. And I was like, what have I done? and I wept during the piece. And then it turns out she was still writing letters in 7th grade to the Tooth Fairy, which I thought was really remarkable. Sad and remarkable. But I feel like I sort of cut my children off from not my daughter, just my son, from magical imagination stuff. So I regret that, and I want Mason, just because I'm uncomfortable dealing with it, to just try to figure out where babies come from without me explaining it, because that feels complicated right now. I don't know. I mean, does anybody have advice on that point?
Don't let her figure it out on her own.
No, exactly. You need to tell her.
Don't let her figure it out on her own. Sounds like sage advice.
Trial and error.
Let her mom talk to her.
Where babies come from, a book?
No.
Okay, so just to be clear, you were in the library, you found a bunch of children, and you read them.
more like a supermarket?
Okay. Do you just carry it around with you? And whenever you find children, you're like, kids, come here. You want to know what a vagina is? It sounds like a good book. It sounds like Ruth's incantation. Thank you for asking. Yeah. Hi.
Hi, Misha. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I've actually got a question from somebody on Twitter who couldn't be here.
Okay.
Her name is Jennifer. And she wanted to know if you could change anything about the direction of your character, what would it be?
I guess I could imagine a universe in which Castiel, the angel, has dialogue on the show. Hi.
Lots of people other than Sam and Dean have driven the Impala, including Kelly, a couple of ghosts, a mobster. Is Castiel ever going to get a chance to drive the Impala?
Now that you've asked that question, I'm going to do my damnedest to make it happen. What immediately popped in my head is that Castiel not only drives the Impala, but just drives it like a badass stunt driver. Like doing donuts, and Dean is like, no! I didn't know. Baby can do that. Thank you for that. As time goes on, Jensen definitely is losing the thread and confusing himself with Dean more and more. And the line is becoming very blurry between the two. So I think that he probably would try to tackle. Who would be unconscious? He's unconscious in the back seat? Oh. You're thinking like chloroform or something? Hey man, can I drive your car? No. When we were in college, this is a little bit of a Gish Genesis story, but when we were in college, we did this scavenger hunt at my college, which was it was the highlight of the year, and my wife and I were on different teams, and I had a car. It was a very, very old Volvo sedan, and she said, can I borrow your car, because I found a place, one of the items in the scavenger hunt was 3 live sheep. And she said, we were in Chicago, and she said, I found a place in Wisconsin that has live sheep that they'll loan me for the day. And I have a Volvo sedan. No, you can't borrow my car. And then I made the mistake of falling asleep. She took my keys, and she went to Wisconsin and got the sheep. But then there was sort of a lengthy wait. They cracked the windows. The sheep ate the upholstery, but not before pissing and shitting all over the car and grinding it into the fabric with their hooves. And then afterwards, she was like, oh, these sheep, I guess they're going to be slaughtered or something. That's terrible. So then she had to take them to like the SPCA. So she like stole sheep from a farm and brought them to a shelter, which of course probably immediately killed them. Yeah, my car was ruined. And I'm bringing that up because off of borrowing keys question. Okay, yes.
Hi. So my question was, what was your favorite dick joke from season 7?
What was your favorite dick joke?
I don't remember specifically, but I remember we were making dick jokes while we shot at the most disgusting location we've ever shot at, which was the bowels of a sewage treatment plant. And the odor was just overpowering. And we were making all these dick jokes. And it really put me off. What was yours?
The boys need Cass to get dick.
I guess I'm their wingman.
Oh. How long you been saving that one?
See what we did there? Okay. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so with this show ending, I know you guys want like everyone to die. If Cass could have a happy ending, what would you want Cass's ending? If it was happy, not dying.
Why are you talking about happy endings? Yeah, well, no, it went downhill the moment I walked on stage. I don't know. I honestly, it's such a, no, I really cannot imagine a version of the show ending that is happy for Cass, I hate to say. I'm sorry, I just haven't gotten there. Like, maybe that exists, but I somehow think that it has to be sort of full of sacrifice and tragedy. Sorry. But in a weird way, I think that that's probably a happy ending for Cass.
No.
Well, what do you think? Cass is like back on his cloud and, strumming his harp again? I think Cass's version of a happy ending is making a meaningful sacrifice that has a positive impact. Debbie Downer.
Hi. Just to lighten the mood a little bit, of the numerous character deaths on the show, which, other than yours, which was the most disappointing to you when you found out about it?
I guess I really didn't like to see Bobby go. I didn't like to see Charlie go. I felt in a way Bobby's death was tragic, but also like made the stakes higher on the show because somebody that we knew so well and loved for so long could be gone. So it makes like death feel more present and palpable. So I guess in a way maybe Charlie's death was the most disappointing for me because I felt like we didn't need to see her go. But there have been resurrections, so that helps. That helps soften the blow. Yeah. I'm good. How are you?
I'm a bit of a bookworm, and so I was wondering, what are you reading currently that isn't a good book or a kid's book, and what do you think of it?
Can I ask you a question? It just dawned on me, were bookworms a thing? Like worms that eat books?
Yes. Why not?
Yes. Yes, they were. Yeah.
Oh my God. Do we still have them? They're small? Why you act like this is so obvious? I've never seen a bookworm.
My mom's an archivist, and they're teeny tiny little things. They eat paper.
Okay.
In controlled environments. That's
Like libraries?
black ones, yeah.
I'm reading scripts mostly at the moment. I've been kind of too busy to read much else. I started recently, not that recently, a book called The Argonauts, which is really lovely but incredibly dense. It makes me feel stupid. And another book by John McPhee called Into the Country about Alaska, which is awesome. And I'm reading a wide variety of children's books. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which I hate. There are a lot of books that the kids are like, read this, and I'm like, oh, I hate that book. So, yeah. What are you reading?
A fair bunch of stuff. Guy Kay, The Feeling of Our Tapestry is something that I go back to a lot. High fantasy, if you're into that.
Mm-hmm. I am, yeah. Penthouse Forum. For example.
What's your favorite memory from growing up?
Oh my God. My favorite memory from growing up, I've never really framed my childhood in that way. I do have several positive memories. I have this one weird memory. I was 4, and I was sitting on, we had this like horse fence in front of our house. And I was sitting on the fence, and the next door neighbor was a contractor, and he had a backhoe, and the backhoe drove by down the street. And I very distinctly remember thinking, seen it before. My best years are over. Nothing's new anymore. And at that moment I decided 3 was the best age and that I was past my prime.
Hi. My question is, if you were just like a simple viewer of the show, who would be like your favorite character?
Probably Castiel.
Other than Pascal, because that's kind of obvious.
I don't know. I mean, I like a lot of the peripheral characters on the show, like the Angel Blade and the trench coat, and the blue tie. You know, those for me are real anchors. So if it's not Castiel per se, I would say those guys are pretty great. Yeah, thanks.
Hi, sorry,
Hi.
I'm super awkward. So I know you recently, hung out with Sebastian Stan. Thank you. So were you able to like chat it up with him and be like, hey, can I join the MCU after some of that? Or like, hey, want to hang out or anything?
Are you asking if I hit on him slash tried to get a job? I'm playing the long game with him. I'm trying to play hard to get. I kind of like acted cool. Also, I didn't know who he was. I know, everyone's like, what, you know who is that? I was like, no, I don't know who that is. Everyone's like, you should get a picture with Sebastian Stan. I was like, okay, who's that? And then I asked someone if he was more famous than me. And I got the most resounding yes that I've ever heard. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? You're not famous at all. Yeah.
So your kids don't make you watch like the Marvel movies or anything?
My kids are terrified of Frozen. I can't watch documentaries. I tried to watch the new Netflix documentary about planet Earth, and it got to like the ice caps melting, and wasn't like, I can't take it, stop, you know. They're very delicate flowers. The only thing that my kids can watch is Friends. And they've watched every episode of Friends, and they love it, and they have like their favorite characters. Mason loves Phoebe. Wes was being an obnoxious, snide teenager, and I was like, where did you learn that? And he said, from Friends. But Friends, we watch, and that's it.
So what about that job?
It's probably not going to happen. I dropped the ball in every way. He was friendly. He did take a picture with me when I asked him to. I think he just thought I was some strange fan. What?
Didn't you know who you were?
No. Yes.
Next question is Judy. Yeah.
I was wondering if you could tell us a story from when you and Vicky and the kids were making the cookbook, or any Vicky or Dave story.
Thank you for that broad swath of options. Don't tell that story. Okay, so you asked about the cookbook, but you also asked about Vicky and Darius. I'll tell the Vicky and Darius story. So, Vicky took me on a birthday road trip, and we went to, the first stop was San Francisco, and it was a series of surprises on the birthday road trip. The first stop was San Francisco, and and I was getting a massage. That was like the reveal. Like, here's getting a massage. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you don't know me that well, obviously, because it's not like what I would do for my birthday at all. But okay, and so we went into this very zen massage place, and she's like, it's the best massage place in San Francisco. And the guy who was my masseuse took me into the room behind the curtain, and he had these hot rocks with oil, and he said, let me know if it's too much. And my brother had just been in Hawaii, and he had just told me that he had gotten a massage, a hot rock oil massage, from like a 7-foot-tall Norwegian dude. And that he nearly broke every bone in his body, but afterwards he felt like a new person. So I was like, to the guy, I was like, don't worry, it's not gonna be too much. And so I lay down on the table, and I hear the rocks clinking together, and then the guy says, I broke my nail, hold on, I'll be right back. And I'm laying face down on the table, naked, and he goes out and then comes back in, and then proceeds to start the massage. And at first it's very rough, much more rough than I was expecting. And I was grating my teeth like, oh, that hurts. Okay. And then he got up on the table, and he straddled me. And he started dragging his hair back and forth across my back. And I was like, this actually feels kind of nice. And then he grabbed the oil and the rocks again, and he started like grinding like in my inner thighs, like way up my inner thighs. And I mean, it feels kind of nice too. But I was also determined not to like, put a stop to things because I had sort of set my mind to things. And then And then he started doing something which I didn't know about in massage. He started spanking me. Incredibly hard. And finally I was like, what the? And I turned around and it was Darius's wife, Liza. And the real surprise was that they had come out from the East Coast to visit. But the most satisfying thing about it for Vicky was that the entire staff of the massage place, my privacy be damned, the curtain was open and they were all just watching the whole thing. Thanks for asking.
Hi, Misha.
Hi.
First of all, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And
Speaking of birthdays.
so, first of all, my question is, so I know that you probably get recognized by fans a lot in public and stuff. And so my question is, what's your funniest encounter you've ever had with a supernatural fan in public?
That's hard to say. There have been some instances where people have really totally lost their shit. Actually, there was one interesting one recently where I was crossing the border, because I commute across the border most days for work, and I was crossing the border, and I got up to the checkpoint, and there was a guy who was in his 50s, and he was like, oh, I know who you're. It says Dimitri on your passport, but I know you're Misha. I know you. You know, my family does Gish. We know you. I looked you up. I know your address. That, first of all, sounds super illegal, whatever you're saying. And then he said, wait here, I have to get my phone. And when you're at the Peace Arch crossing on the 5, it's, I don't know, maybe 8, 9 lanes across, and we were in the extreme right-hand side. And he shut the gate, there was a line of traffic. He shut the gate and then ran across all of these, he's not a skinny dude, he ran across all the lines, and then he came back with his camera and he's like, let's take some pictures. It was pretty great. I mean, he was really actually very sweet, and it was kind of endearing, but it was like, that's not what I was expecting when I went to the border today.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
So, I'm from Tewksbury.
Oh my goodness.
And
we're neighbors.
Yes, we are. And so, I work on the road, I'm a social worker, and everybody, first of all, wants to know when you're coming home again.
Back to Billerica?
Back to Billerica.
God, it's been a long time. It's been probably 20 years since I've been there.
They built it up quite a bit.
Did they?
They did.
It was a real rough town when I was there. Is it still?
No, it's actually quite lovely.
Oh.
Lovely now. Yeah. They built it up. Really nice.
And you still live there?
I live in Tewksbury.
Right, but you know, in the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like our neighbors used to go to the other neighbor's house and shoot their chickens. Or they would go out to the river and they would cast, and one of the brothers would catch a fish and then reel it in and swing it around, and the other one would hit it with a paddle off the hook. Pretty brutal. They would put, I shouldn't even talk about this. They would put piles of dog shit in front of our house and then light M80s under it and blow it up across the whole front of the house. It was a great place to live and grow up. Yeah. Fond memories. There's actually a reason I haven't been back in 20 years. It was traumatic. Okay. I would like to go back. Maybe we could get together for a clam roll or something.
My treat.
Okay, thank you. Hi.
Hi, sorry, holy shit. So one time you shared a story, sounds stalkerish. That, or not stalkerish, I guess I'm a fan. When you were really proud.
Same deal.
Yeah. You were really proud of Wes because he gave some.
Wait, I did what?
You were really proud of Wes because he gave some money that you, like, it was paid from the treasure hunt to the homeless shelter. And I thought that was really sweet, and I want to know a time that you're proud of Mason.
Never been proud of her. What's that?
She's gonna find that video.
Mason, I'm just kidding. I'm super proud of you. I hate Les. I mean, I'm proud of Mason all the time. She is such a lovely, intrepid little spirit. She's remarkably not fearless, not fearful. Like we, I guess I think I'm kind of feeling lately very proud of her for her tomboyishness. She went to camp with West earlier this summer, and they were all older kids and a lot of boys. And she kept on wrestling. She's in kindergarten. She kept on wrestling the second grade boys and beating them. And they were all like mortified and kept coming back for more. And she kept dropping them on the ground. And I really love that. But also she like dresses up like a fairy and a princess, and then like, Dad, sometimes I'm a tomboy and sometimes I'm a princess. I was like, that's great, same for me. I love her. Like we were on the beach and we rolled up this rock and there was a fish called a midshipman. It's about this big and spiny and looks quite menacing, really. And all of these other kids, all of whom were much older than her, were like, "Ugh!" And she was like, I just picked it up, and I was like, yeah. I wish she had like bitten the head off or something. Had that Ozzy Osbourne moment. But she'll get there, she's only 6.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
First of all, I just want to thank you for everything that you do with Randmax and Gish and everything like that. But most of all, that you are raising your children to know that it's most important to give back and to just treat people with respect and help others. As a mom, that's something that we want to teach our children. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you for saying that, and I hope that sticks. How old are your kids?
17, 19, and 24.
Nice.
So that was my job when they were little, and they are good young men now. So
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah.
My question for you is, from all of the versions of Cass that there have been, from strict angel to more human angel and everything in between, what's been your favorite to play as Cass?
I guess I've always liked that transition into the new version of Cass. It's always been a fun challenge to, like, when Cass became human, it was like, oh, this is a new thing to do. I like new, there's a new personality test that was published on 538. Has anyone seen it? Apparently it's like the first really scientifically proven short personality test. And we were all doing it on set recently. And I scored 100 out of 100 on interest in new experiences. And I like being on that edge of doing something new. So every time there's been a change for the character, I've liked it, but I've liked over time the fact that the character is constantly morphing too. Like, it hasn't stayed static. Even when it seems to be, even when Cass, I think, is not going through a major transition, it's always incrementally changing, which is kind of interesting to me, and it's not something that's really cultivated, it's just happening. I'm going to miss him. It's a weird thing that I simply can't explain, but I think we all have gotten to the point where we feel like those characters are real to us, and they're kind of a part of us. And so when we're not, I think we might just sort of sit on the couch and put on weight after the show. Because it's going to feel like, it's going to be a mourning process when we have to move on from these characters.
You don't have to worry because you're an angel in real life.
I'm glad you stayed for the button there. That was nice.
Hi, my name is John, and
Hi.
I have a question about if you could be cast as like full powers, if you could go into any TV show and completely change the dynamics and make it a whole new show, like kind of wipe out characters that you wanted, what would it be?
Probably Friends. I'd love the opportunity to get into Friends in the final season and just maybe kill half of the cast and change it to sort of a murder mystery from a sitcom. Mostly just because I think it would really impress my kids. Like, that's my dad. My dad killed Phoebe. Or Fleabag. Have you seen Fleabag? So good. A lot of people are really into the priest sex from Fleabag, I've noticed. It's pretty creepy. It's like a reverse fetish. Strange. Who said that?
Jules.
Yeah, you're sinking down into your seat quite low. Yeah. Shame on you.
Hey, she controls your wiki
But you're
page.
not alone. A lot of people feel the same way, including my wife. Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
Good. Was that your question?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
My question is, do you know how to Z-snap?
Z-snap? No. Is that right? You said close?
All right.
Oh, there's more snaps.
4 snaps, each corner.
I now know. Thank you for teaching us. You're not satisfied?
Well, I was wondering, now that you know what a Z-snap is, could you show me your sassiest Z-snap, like with your whole body?
No.
Too many things to think about at once. Evidently not. Sorry. Never felt so uncoordinated in my life. I feel like I walked into a trap. Yes.
I was wondering, since you were talking about new experiences and liking when cast transitions, is there anything that you would not do, that you're like, thinking about, like, oh, I would like to try all these things, but there's something, no, I don't want to do? Not necessarily as cast, but just as you. There's like
Oh, you mean like killing children? Yeah, I can think of lots of things that I probably would say, I'm going to pass on that.
something that like maybe scares you, or like for me, I'm scared of a lot of things, but in particular like heights.
Okay.
So is there something
Yes.
that you're like, no, I think
There's
I'm
something,
okay.
I know a lot of people who've done a drug called ayahuasca.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that sounds too scary to me, and I'm not interested. So if you are offering me ayahuasca right now, are you? We know you mentioned it. Maybe I will try it once, but no. I think there are certain things like that like maybe push the envelope a little too far for me. Yeah. I'm sure there are a lot of other things that are too scary for me. I don't want to be shot at with live ammunition.
Well, you wouldn't actively go into that situation.
I don't know, you're sort of presenting a wide open field. Is there something you're afraid of? Yes, it's being unarmed in a battlefield. But yeah, what about you?
I'm a scaredy cat, so there's a lot of things.
Jumping out of airplanes, you want to do.
Like we were talking about doing the gondola ride up the mountain.
Up the Grouse Mountain.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And there are ones that you can stand on top. No, thank you. That seems not.
Not necessary.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great use and all, but
I don't want to bungee jump. I don't want to do anything at a fair that goes around, that brings you upside down or spins you around with centripetal force. The last time I did that, I was with my godson, and he said, Misha, I think I have to go to the bathroom. And I said, number 1 or number 2? And he said, number 3. And I said, me too. Yeah.
space travel then in that case with the.
Space travel, I might want to do. That sounds nice.
The G-force.
Anyway, we'll figure this out. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Misha.
Hi.
Because
Yes.
Supernatural, you had a string of small and smaller roles.
Smaller and smaller roles. Before Supernatural, your career was, you were slipping into obscurity, from obscurity into even more obscurity. Yes?
And most of them are either a criminal
Yes.
or superhero.
Okay. Are you a publicist by any chance?
There is actually a compliment coming up, I think.
Okay, I'm waiting for that.
No matter how small the role you played, how weird they are, you make them relatable, understandable, and lovable, which I was surprised.
Lovable or laughable? Okay.
I was surprised no matter how small the role were before.
Okay.
So,
You don't have to keep hitting the small role.
because they think you are suitable for those roles, or do you chose to portray those roles by choice? So, if you knew cast will be an angel, not a demon, would you have audited for that role?
Would I have wanted to be an angel? Just to be perfectly transparent with you, in the first 10 years of my career, when I had an opportunity to audition for something, I would do anything that came my way. Oh, you said I know?
I think your resume speaks for itself.
This last question has been really great for my ego. No matter how small and insignificant the role, you were always evil. Usually something weird, but also evil. Memorable, I suppose, for such a small role. Did I mention how tiny the roles were that you used to play?
And my question is, did you pay them? Or
ultimately, had you known that Castiel was going to be a significant character or even remotely likable, would you have played it?
seems to fly in the face of your previous career playing forgettable one-line parts.
Thank you for the question. And I'd like to think that I would have still tried for the role of Castiel, even if I didn't know that it was going to be more than 2 lines for the character. Are you in psychological warfare by any chance? What is your career?
I just was thinking to really eat whatever I love, so that's including you and all your earlier.
In spite of all of my work. In spite of my body of work.
And I think your combination of your like smaller one-line roles.
I get it. It's not a very long compilation. These are very short.
I think having the microphone nowhere near her mouth is really helping.
I've given the signal to remove the microphone. She's still talking. No, thank you. This has been really fun to talk about. My body of work.
do we have to end? I mean, I guess we have to, do you want to try to salvage? Should we take one more?
I'm clawing my way back from that one.
You don't want, okay, so that's it. All right, well, there
No
we
matter
go.
how insignificant and forgettable the roles that you played were, you were always weird or evil.
It doesn't matter how small the part, believe me, the parts were small. When edited together, they still make, in a collective, a small part.
I followed your career as your roles got smaller and smaller, and more infrequent.
It seems to me that at one point you simply quit the business and weren't trying anymore. Oh, what's your favorite color? Let's see. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys. You know him, you've forgotten him already. Misha I just remember he was unlikable. And forgettable. Unlikable and forgettable. By the way, the title of Misha's upcoming autobiography, How to Make It in Hollywood, while also being unlikable and forgettable. Tonight, on this stage, right here, this band scoots over to the middle of the stage and puts on a rock concert. It's called Saturday Night Special, named because it happens on a Saturday night, and it is always special. Robbie, we got some special stuff lined up tonight.
Oh yeah, it's going to be epic. We have a lot of guest stars joining us. Of course, we're playing our favorite Loud and Swain songs, and it's going to be amazing.
Don't miss it. Don't come all the way to Vancouver Con and not come to see what we do best, which is the Saturday Night Special. We'll see you guys later.